Hello, it's Joe Welinske. I'm the program manager for ConveyUX, a conference that we have coming up in Seattle in January, and I'm fortunate to have the chance to do some preview discussions with some of the presenters who will be at the conference. And so today I am talking with Steve Fisher. Hello, Steve.
Hey Joe,
Where are you talking to us from today?
I am in Vancouver, Canada, where it's bright and sunny, which is a little unusual for us this time of year, but we'll take it.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much the same here, which is fortunate. I'm glad we had a chance to get together. Why don't you start out just by telling us a little bit about your organization and the nature of the work that you're regularly involved in?
Okay, I am the founder of the Republic of Quality, which is a small consultancy here in Vancouver, British Columbia. We focus on creating great content experiences, so user experience work and content strategy work. Um, right now, we're having some fun working on a few different things. One of them that's got me particularly excited is doing a digital strategy for a large municipality up here called the City of Surrey. So we're digging in to see what it is, all their design and user experience and research standards will need to be for, quite a few 100,000 people. So that's pretty interesting.
And then, in terms of the types of things that you're normally involved in, kind of on a day, what's a day in the life for Steve Fisher or Republic of Quality like?
Well, it can really vary, but there's lots of common things that we get involved in. A lot of time we spend getting to know people, I would say, doing on-site research, understanding what it is that stakeholders need, so that we can translate that into these great content experiences without actually talking to people and really understanding what it is that they're trying to accomplish. We can't really produce great experiences, user experience work. It's essential to the work that we do. So we put a lot of effort into that contextual research and really digging in deep to understand what it is that people are both saying and not saying. Because quite often there's like this river of conflict that's going through all of our lives, but in particular organizations that sometimes even the stakeholders aren't aware of, that they don't realize that they're saying they want to do one thing, but their actions are moving them towards another thing. So we help reconcile that too, so that projects can move forward really well. But a day in the life, yeah, mostly talking to people and then designing out some things.
You mentioned user research, and what does that tend to consist of? Have there been any trends in terms of uh, different techniques that are emerging that you use more often, or ones that maybe less so? Kind of what's going on in that area for you?
That's a great question, Joe. Um, I would say in the past we would do a lot of things where it'd still be considered contextual, but people would be coming to us, perhaps into a usability lab or into a stakeholder's boardroom or office. Um, but more and more over the last however many years, we've actually been going to people. So taking iPads out to people on the street to do card sorts, or actually sitting at a bus stop and waiting and talking to people who are taking transit to learn about how transit impacts their life if we're doing work with a transit organization. So I wouldn't say that some of the techniques have really changed radically, other than we're taking it to the people rather than asking them to come to us. And we're getting much better results much quicker. So that's been fabulous for us.
Well, I'm sure you're always thinking about new ways to do things. There's probably you have new design thoughts, new technologies popping up that spark your interest. Are there any areas that you're particularly interested in, passionate about that you're getting more involved with?
Yeah, actually, over the last couple of years, I've gotten more and more involved with working in content strategy. It's always been a part of what I do, but I would say the last 2 years are the first time that people had started just naturally calling me that, a content strategist at times. But in particular to responsive web design, it gets really complex to think about adaptive content, how it'll appear across, well, who knows what device, right? It could be anything from a small 1.26-inch screen on a Pebble watch to, a digital billboard or television or our phones or our computers, right? So with that, something I've been really excited about has been responsive content modeling, really digging in to understand the structure of the content, its priorities, its importance, and how it be delivered across all these devices. I recently had a blog post that explained some of that, but I'm also, I know, going to be doing sort of a mini workshop at ConveyUX on it. So I'm very excited about that.
And in terms of that responsive content modeling topic, what's have, have there been any particular challenges? Obviously, anything like that, you're going to run into things that you have to deal with. But are there any things that maybe are uniquely challenging or significant that you've had to deal with in your own practice, or that maybe the people participants in your workshops identify as being something challenging related to responsive content modeling?
Sure, there are lots of challenges right from the start of it sounding so incredibly nerdy and boring, um, that sometimes people aren't excited about being involved with it. Another challenge with that, though, is just that content is incredibly complex, right? Depending on the scope of the organization, you could have, like the city of Surrey I mentioned working with, they have over 20,000 content pages that they have active at any given time, let alone all the PDFs and different things, right? So it's really digging into a system design methodology at times there, so they can understand how um, they can plan for future content as well as work with existing content. But I would say that the one of the bigger challenges within the workshops, like, so I actually workshop this with clients. I don't believe in doing it exclusively on my own. I think that our teams are, the vendor, the client, our stakeholders, and our audiences. So bring them all together, but that often results in a little bit of conflict, right? Where we're saying we have different priorities. So working out those priorities for the content and for the messaging is often the hardest thing to accomplish. Beyond that, there are technical challenges, of course, for how you will deliver the content itself, but it all seems to start to fall in place when we come together as a team and can work out those bits of conflict, right? Those challenges early on as a team. So I would see the workshop setting, us coming together as a key component to it.
All right. Well, yeah. Thanks for giving some insights and a preview to what you'll be talking about at the conference. And so you'll actually be doing a couple of sessions. So looking forward to having you in Seattle. I guess that'll just be a drive south from Vancouver for you.
Yeah.
But I'll see you in person in a couple of months then.
Okay, that sounds great, Joe.
All right. Thanks a lot, Steve.
Thanks, Joe.